Hi, I'm on, and I can hear you
Hi,
all.
Mel.
Hello. Good morning to everyone.
Morning. Good morning. All right. Welcome, everybody. Well, we are so excited to be here this morning. I think it's morning nearly everywhere in the country, about noon for you East Coasters. So welcome today on this lovely Thursday. Hopefully everyone was able to join our broadcast today. We're here to talk about menopause at work, and we are just thrilled to be here. So just a few housekeeping things, and then we'll give some introductions and jump right in. If anyone has questions as we're talking or wants to share an experience or just chime in with anything, we want this to be really fun and engaging, interactive. So please feel free to type it into the chat and we can go from there. And I can't quite see who's here and how many of you are here, but I know a lot of you might even be watching this in the recorded version. So with any questions you may have, if you're not doing this live with us, just please give us a shout and we can talk then. So first of all, I just want to quickly introduce all of us. I'm Monica Jacobson. I am a registered dietitian here at Gennev, and I work with people going through all stages of menopause, and I'm also one of the faces behind social media here at Gennev. And our main lovely guest, who is also internal, is Devon McGill, and she's our director of partnerships. And Devon is just a true gem to have here at Gennev. She has come with over 20 years experience in benefits on the employer side of things. So she really offers a unique perspective on how to advocate for the workplace policies and benefits to support people through their menopause journey. So Devon, thank you for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm excited.
Wonderful. And we also have our wonderful Melanie Olson. She's our community director. She is a face in our Facebook community group that I think many of you may be a part of, and definitely check it out if you don't know what I'm talking about. It's a wonderful 8,000 women people strong community. It's a lovely place just to find community in menopause, share experiences and learn from each other and gather resources. All sorts of great things happen in there. So Melanie, thank you for being here. So as we get started, I just wanted to really just open up the conversation with both Devon and with you, Mel, and really talk about menopause at work. This is a topic that has really recently come to the surface, while women and people born with ovaries have been going through menopause while working forever. So I'm so glad we can shed light on this topic and hopefully educate a lot of you so that you feel empowered to advocate for the needs you deserve, certainly in the workplace. So with that being said, Devon, why don't you tell us a little bit more about, let's just kick it off with menopause at work. Like, why is this so important, and why are we here talking about it today with a little more detail?
Yeah, thanks, Monica. I'm super excited to talk to you all about this today. Menopause in the workplace has always been in the workplace, but we're just now hearing for kind of the first time a light shed on what the experiences are of women who go through menopause at work. Women go through lots of different experiences at work, not just menopause. You have to go through many different lifestyle changes, such as pregnancy and being a new parent, and lots of different things that you experience. And menopause is always an experience. experience. But over the last year or so, we're really starting to see a light shed on the challenges and the impacts to women in the workplace as they're experiencing menopause. And what's really important here that we need to really be thinking about is women are such a force of change for benefits in the workplace. We don't just always suffer in silence. We often suffer in silence. But at some point we say, you know what, I don't really think that I want to suffer anymore. And there's been quite a number of significant changes to benefits packages based on women really advocating for themselves and their needs. So, for example, infertility benefits used to not be a thing. When I first started in benefits, that was not something that plans covered. They didn't have specific point solutions to address infertility. But as time went on and as the needs became more impactful, women were really speaking up. And when I was working as a benefits manager, I remember so many conversations during open enrollment, so many emails, so many hallway conversations where women were saying, hey, I really need this support. I really need this coverage. Why don't we have coverage? It's super expensive. I don't know who to go to. The outcomes are challenging. And we've seen a significant change in the market. Now, fertility benefits are super common. And it's amazing to see how women have led that change using their voices to really advocate for what they need. Same thing with, pumping at work, right? You used to have to go into your car or you have to go into a closet, and it was this kind of shameful thing. And now companies are really offering these beautiful spaces where you have a recliner and you have, a refrigerator, and you can really sit down and do what is natural and what you need to do in order to take care of your child. And so I think we can use those same voices as women to advocate for what we need for menopause in the workplace, because it's a lot of similar experiences, right? Where you're having a lot of challenges day to day. Every day is different. And while many people think, oh, well, we offer OBGYN coverage or PCP coverage through our regular benefits plan, that's really just not enough. And that's what we really hear from so many of our patients. And as Mel kind of talks us through her workplace experience, we'll really understand that there needs to be more in-depth support and coverage, not just through actual healthcare plans, but policy change as well. And so I'd for Mel to kind of talk us through what her experience was like, so that then I can kind of talk about how would you tackle that from a policy change and benefits advocacy perspective.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And thanks for being patient with my sound issues this morning, everyone. I am Melanie Olson. I'm the community director here at Gennev. And I work with Devon on the partnership side, continuing to build that advocacy and awareness around all of those things she was just talking about. And I also have the privilege of moderating and working with an 8,000 strong Facebook group that we have full of women and people sharing their stories every single day throughout their various stages of menopause. But getting to the working woman conversation, that's me. I did that. I've been a working woman through the child years. I totally resonated with what you were talking about, Devon, around pumping at work. When I had my babies, they're 16 and 13, I got a couple of weeks off, and thankfully I had an understanding employer, but, I had to shut my office. I didn't have any accommodations. Within 5 to 10 years of that, I started seeing other companies taking on that role, supporting those women, and seeing that real life, that real change. And it was so powerful and important. So as far as me, I'm in perimenopause, and here I am working. And I have my own story to share around this. And similar to those big time changes as a woman, having children, going through these moments, and managing it, it really shifts your entire life. And so just bringing in my personal experience, I have a lot of sleep problems. Sleep is a huge issue. It's one that is coming up all the time in the community. It's very, very common. we are shifting, our hormones are shifting, and we are struggling to sleep. We're struggling to get a significant amount of time in one chunk. And so that's been a huge thing to work through. And as I'm saying, it's sort of like a practice. I have to like view this as a practice, like a yoga practice or something, to continue to get good at it. Because if I have a couple of hard nights, that totally impairs my ability to show up at work the way that I want to. A couple of things too that I just wanted to share as a working woman, also juggling that idea of what and who I am at my job. I've had to do some work on that going through Peri, because I can't get up and do all the things that I need to do and just show up to work like I always used to, putting no time into my world, into my life. I'm seeing a massive need for myself to create a routine, an early morning routine, a way for me to calmly get through all the things I need to get through so that I can show up at work and be who I want to be at work, which is someone who brings a lot of value to the job. It's really important to me. And when I feel like I'm not, I feel terrible. I feel bad. I feel a lot of things. And that's a lot of shame that we as women hold in this time, that we don't need to. We really don't. Another one that I wanted to share is that brain fog that comes with it. My boss actually recently, she had a moment of brain fog and we were laughing about it at work, but I connected myself to my last job and I thought I could never say that. I didn't know what I could say, and actually didn't even know it was perimenopause. I was kind of getting down on myself about my ability to recall things and going, what is your problem? What's going on? That kind of stuff. So again, that shame driver. And then the last one that I'll bring up, around my own personal experiences as a working woman going through Peri, is I have a lot of anxiety. I have tons of anxiety in the morning. This is something that goes back to a lot of my life. I've always had some anxiety, so it's a heightened level. It's now something to manage, and I'm managing it. Again, it's just it's almost like a third job. But it's taking that time to start bringing in those strategies, taking the supplements, going to a doctor, really creating a plan around it, which I've been doing. And that's helping a lot. But those are the three kind of things that I'm really grappling with day to day as a working woman with perimenopause.
Thanks for sharing your story, Mel. I think that really highlights what so many people struggle with: sleep, anxiety, morning routines for lots of different stages of your life, right? And so I think sometimes people feel like if you're in a benefits position and you're having to support menopause, you're not supporting your entire population, right? Not everybody goes through menopause, but lots of benefits look like that, right? Not every woman has a baby, right? And we provide lots of different services for healthy babies and healthy pregnancies, which is amazing. But every woman's going to go through menopause. And so as we think about, the kinds of benefits that we can include in our workplace to support menopause, it's not just supporting menopause, it's supporting your entire population. The US is chronically doesn't get enough sleep, right? Like, I think the kind of sleep program is going to benefit everyone, right? And so that's the kind of lens that I try to think about in terms of menopause support. There's, of course, Gennev services that are specifically clinical menopause support. And there's other types of services as well that really feed into the underlying challenges that someone would go through in menopause. And so I just want to acknowledge that it's not easy, right? It's not an easy thing to look at your overall benefits package as a benefits manager and pick and choose how best to support your population. But I think the things that you're specifically speaking about really supports the entire population. But what I'd love for you to kind of talk about as well is what we've seen in the Facebook community about people taking significant amounts of time off and ending their careers at this stage of their life.
Yeah, that was so enlightening and really interesting. And yesterday we had a really great conversation in the Facebook group around working, around navigating that, around menopause, sharing wisdom, sharing horror stories. And it was shocking. About half of the women who responded, we had a great conversation. People are still connecting to it right now. Was about women taking time off, needing to take time off either to readjust and reconnect to the new normal, or simply just leaving their careers. And that's something I've never done. I've never had to or felt like I had to leave my job because of this. It's definitely something to navigate, and it's a daily thing. Again, it's that third job that I'm working on, but this is women leaving their jobs, and that was sobering and also really sad. There's also this level that it felt like many of them were unable to talk to their employers. They didn't have the space to say, these are the things I need. And I even wondered, and we haven't talked enough about it in there, and we're going to keep talking about it, but I wondered, what could have made a difference there? Could they have navigated this successfully if everyone was, all together working on it? There's just a bunch of women sharing right now. So it's just really interesting. But yeah, a lot of them leaving their jobs either permanently or for an extended amount of time to kind of wrap their hands around how to handle this and then get back to it.
Thanks for sharing that, because I think, at this midlife stage in a woman's career, that's when we have our most power and are the most able to support an organization at senior levels. And so when I think about all of the diversity, equity, and inclusion efforts that are happening in the United States, women are part of that, right? And women in leadership positions is something that most companies really struggle with. And so thinking about, well, what's the root cause of that? Are women really leaving the workforce because they're having this menopause experience that is not talked about, it's taboo, it's not being supported, and they're not really able to speak up to say, I'm having brain fog, I'm not sleeping at night, I'm experiencing anxiety, I'm afraid I'm going to bleed through my pants at work because I'm having a flash period. And instead, it's just easier for them to leave. And so how do we change that? How do we make a difference? And I think it's through education, right? There is so much you can do through just educating your workforce, from your managers to your HR team to everyone across the entire workplace about menopause and the experience of menopause and what that really means, and that it is so different for everyone. And that allows people to really speak up and say how they're feeling and say, hey, I'm in the middle of a meeting. I need to get my fan out because I'm having a hot flash and I just need to fan myself. I don't even necessarily need to leave the room, but I need to feel like it's an okay enough space to fan myself. And it really does take that education that is pervasive throughout the entire organization and updated policies. So that's another area where I think workplaces can really lean in to update their policies to include menopause symptoms as a reason that you take a sick day, right? If you see it in the handbook and a sick day includes menopause symptoms, that has just reduced the stigma just a little bit. If you are going through your open enrollment and they're talking about things that are available for HSA and they say hormone replacement therapy, that takes away the stigma just a little bit more. And these are things that cost corporations no money. These are things that you already offer your employees, but just by adding in the language of menopause symptoms, menopause medications, things like chili pads because you're getting hot flashes at night and you're not sleeping, just those inclusions of those items when you're having a conversation with the entire workplace just takes a little bit away that stigma and allows people to speak up a little bit more. And so I really encourage HR managers, benefits managers to think about those things that they can do to really support menopause in non-financial ways.
That is so important. I love that. And yes, another piece around that I'm seeing in the community and also for myself is this complete lack of preparation around this time of our life. So, one woman shared, I'm dealing with my kids in sports and high anxiety. And this time of life is also, we're really in the thick of it. And so this thing comes on that needs direct attention. Again, it's our third job. And it's like, we are not ready for this. We're not prepared to tackle this, and we don't have the support at our job. We're not seeing it in all of the paperwork, right? Like you're saying, passively seeing these things that are making it okay for us to have this experience. It's just not there. And so I think all of those little bits do eventually tell us a story that we do have to do this alone. We can't share it. We can't bring it into light. And that's exactly what we need to do, is bring this into the light.
Absolutely. Yeah. According to a recent Mercer survey, only 15% of companies plan to offer benefits support. Now, support comes in lots of different ways, and is a wide range of services. But one of the things that's really important as menopause really starts to enter into the conversation, and as the door has opened to start to have these conversations with benefits and HR leaders, is being specific about what it is that you need, right? And that's a tough thing to do, because I think a lot of times benefits managers, when big things like this come up, they'll find the easiest solution to check the box. And it really doesn't actually meet the employee's needs. And so it's really important as employees to be specific about what it is that you're looking for, and be specific about what it is that you need. So one thing that we know is that the access to specialized menopause trained OBGYNs and registered dietitians is so limited in the United States. And so if you are having challenges even getting into an OB, let alone finding one who's menopause, who has a menopause specialty, you need to tell your benefits team that. And what we experience a lot is, we go to our OB and they say, well, welcome to getting older. And that's not helpful. And so, share those stories with your benefits leaders and be specific about what it is you actually need, which is specialized menopause clinical care. And with all of that support that you need, with additional time off, with flexibility in your schedule if you're having a particularly difficult morning, those types of things, and being really specific about what it is that you're looking for really helps for benefits leaders to advocate for their employees, which they want to do. They want to provide you with things that help you do a good job, and not even think, you can bring your whole self to work, right? So how do you do this? How do you actually approach a benefits manager, or how do you actually advocate? And there's a lot of different ways, right? There's employee resource groups. So those are really powerful ways. If you have a women's employee resource group, or a women in tech, or however your organization supports different employee resource groups, that's a really good way for an entire group to have a voice and advocate. Diversity, equity, and inclusion teams, that's a really great way to advocate as well. It is super important for inclusivity of women at work, especially at these leadership levels. It's expensive to replace that knowledge. So let's just keep them in the workplace and keep them supported. And then just go talk to your benefits team. There's lots of different opportunities. They have emails. You can drop by their office, talk to them at benefits fairs. When you have your company's annual survey, input that information in there. So there's a lot of different ways you can use your voice to advocate for what you need. But I also want to say, it's also not your job to educate your entire workforce about menopause. That the onus is not on you as a woman to tell your story to every single person you encounter and what that means to you. So I just want to be clear about that. It's not your job. It is your workplace's job to provide education webinars and training to managers and to HR teams. It is your job's responsibility to educate those around you. It's not your job. So if you want to do that, it takes courage, it takes grace, and fight that good fight, because your voice is really going to matter. But if you don't want to do that, you don't have to. So I just want to be clear about that the burden is not on you to do that. But there are a couple of ways that Gennev can support you in starting that conversation. So we do have a menopause assessment, and the menopause assessment is on our website, and it's free for you to take. You don't have to set up an account or anything. So in this menopause assessment, it really talks to you. You can talk about your symptoms and how it's impacting your lifestyle. It'll show you what stage you're in your menopause journey, and you can share those results. So you can share those results with your manager, you can share those results with your benefits leader, you can share those results with your spouse or your friends, but it really allows you to start that conversation of, this is what I'm experiencing, and this is how it shows up for me at work. Because then it allows your manager to be your advocate, and it allows your manager to be kind of that person that you can look at in a meeting and say, I need to step out, and they can step in for you. So find those people around you who will support you and who will advocate for you, and who will you can just, give a look and say, I just need a break, and they'll understand. And but that takes a lot of work. We have a lot of work to do. And I think using your voice and advocating, and HR teams and benefits leaders utilize the non-financial ways of integrating menopause into your current policies and benefits. It will go a long way to start to destigmatize menopause in the workplace.
I love that so much. I wanted to ask about the employee resource groups, because I was just reading another one. I've been just trying to learn so much about it, and they are so powerful. What are ways that people could start those? Is that self-organization, or is that like, I need to go to my benefits manager and say, hey, can we start this?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think it depends on every organization, right? So larger companies generally have already established employee resource groups that you can join, or you can create a new employee resource group by reaching out to your HR business partner. If your organization doesn't already have them, it is kind of going to be a grassroots effort, and that's something that you'll partner with your HR team to support and to build. And it's a really great way to bring in education, right? So Gennev offers education webinars for employees, managers, HR teams, and that's a really great way for you to bring an audience, and a captive audience, and make it worth people's time to have those education webinars come to your workplace.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. I love that idea, Devon. I think as we're talking about it, my mind just starts going into so many scenarios that I've heard from patients at my work here at Gennev. But certainly it's a contagious conversation. It's like, anytime you say menopause to another woman, our ears perk up and we say, oh yeah, that's a thing. This is happening. And so I love the point about the menopause assessment. And that can be such a great place, especially if you're a woman 40 plus and you're starting to feel like something's going on, something's a little different. We know our bodies, and you very well will benefit from taking the survey or taking the assessment just to know where you're at in the whole process, because you're absolutely right. Every one of us will go through that change. And for some, it's relatively straightforward. And for others, it can be very, very challenging, to say the least. So that assessment just to gives an idea of, okay, where are you in this process? And then I love the idea of sharing that with who you're comfortable sharing, because it is that very like engaging conversation, and we hear the word and we want to talk about it and bring it to life, bring it to the surface, because it had been so quiet. And we, as young women, we learn about what it's like for your body to change and go through puberty and have a period, and then have for those that choose to have children, have a pregnancy and nurse a child, and all the things kind of up until that point. And then menopause is like a whole new territory. We don't get that education. So we're all sort of out here navigating, oh, well, we didn't learn about this in grade school. So how do we do that? And so the intersection of work and menopause is just really, really interesting. But I think that the conversation and just not being afraid to even just find like one advocate or one friend at work or one coworker that you can just start that dialogue with will move the dial in a good direction.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Totally.
Wonderful. Well, I know we're getting close to time here, but Devon and Melanie, are there any other key takeaways anyone should gather from today's broadcast? Anything else that we didn't get to before we wrap here?
No, I would just say, use your voice, speak up. Women will impact how workplace benefits show up. So even if you don't have it now, advocate for the future of the women in the workforce, because it is really key, it's really important, and we will be that change to provide that support to our future generations and to destigmatize menopause and just educate ourselves about ourselves and our body. So I just really appreciate all the people when I was a benefits manager who spoke up and told me, because sometimes I didn't know. So make sure that you use your voice and ask for what you need, for sure.
Yeah, that's a good point. And I think that's such a valid point too, that males in leadership or in benefits, or women who aren't quite to that stage yet, sometimes it's like, oh, we've heard about menopause, but many people don't even realize what that really can mean for a lot of women in the workforce. So until that's brought to life, it may be just under the radar, but we do this together. So thank you so much, Devon, for sharing all that wisdom and expertise, and Melanie for sharing your own personal journey, being vulnerable with us, and also some stories from the community group that is also valuable. And I'm sure many, many people really resonated with a lot of those examples. So thank you both. I just want to add, next week we will be doing another live broadcast with our wonderful medical, our Chief Medical Officer, Dr. Rebecca Dunsmore-Sue. She's a board certified OBGYN with so much experience. She's absolutely amazing. We've had her on here a few times and many more to come. But she's going to be talking about another very important topic, which is mental health during various stages of menopause. And it's also coinciding with the National Suicide Awareness Week, which is unfortunately a very real thing for women in midlife. And so we want to bring all that to the surface and talk about another big topic, but I think it'll be really informative as well. So come back for that next week. We'll post about it in all of our channels and hopefully see you then. So thank you all again. Have a wonderful rest of your week, and we'll be back. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Have a great day.